Hello and welcome to Perspectives on the Voice of America. I'm Dimiake Mwakalialie. Washington is dotted with museums of every shape and size dedicated to art, technology, and history. A new museum that traces the history of journalism recently opened to the public. VOA's Tabina Naim reports the Newseum is located in a prime spot about midway between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. Its proximity to the center of American political power sends a powerful signal about the profound value Americans place on freedom of expression. Ruth Reeder narrates.
The Newseum is made almost entirely of glass, reflecting the transparency of the media. Large television screens are visible to people walking by. Engraved on the building's facade is the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the foundation of American freedoms, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. The Newseum is a collage of constantly changing images, videos, photographs, and news clippings. It brings together new technology with old to trace the history of the news. The Newseum's deputy director, Susan Bennett, credits the founder of the USA Today newspaper with being the driving force behind the museum.
The Newseum represents the ideas of many people. Alan Newhart, who was the founder of USA Today and the founder of the Freedom Forum, which is our principal funder, thought we should have a museum of news. And our first one was started in 1997 in Virginia. It operated for 5 years. And one thing that surprised us was how many people wanted to come and see a museum of news. And that led to the decision to build a much bigger and much better museum.
The Newseum is huge, 75,000 square meters of conference and exhibit space spread across 14 galleries on 7 separate levels. While the museum is dedicated to the profession of journalism, Bennett says they are not the intended audience.
Well, we didn't build the Newseum for journalists. We built it for those who have an interest in history, those who have an interest in current affairs, in politics. We have 15 theaters here.
Ralph Applebaum designed the Newseum's exhibits.
This is a noisy museum. This is a museum where people talk to each other because what they're walking through is they're walking through the images of their lives.
Visitors to the Newseum tend to agree.
I'm really enjoying the museum.
It's got a lot of interactive exhibits.
Newseum executives hope to inspire visitors from around the world about the value of a free press and the men and women who dedicate their lives to writing history's first draft. For producer Tabina Naim, Ruth Reeder, VOA News, Washington.
Journalists killed in the pursuit of news are being honored at the museum. The memorial is a towering wall of photographs and brief biographies of fallen journalists. For producer Tabina Naim, Ruth Reeder explores the exhibit and what it takes to be a journalist in dangerous areas of the world.
The only people that deliberately will run toward danger are policemen, firemen, and journalists.
Don Ross is the senior editor of the Journalism Memorial at Washington's Newseum. The memorial includes over 1,800 names of journalists who died reporting the news.
The first name on this wall here actually goes back to 1837. But the number between there and about 2000 is a fairly small number, but then it starts skyrocketing.
Ross, a journalist during the Vietnam War, says the war in Iraq has brought new dangers to journalists who are being targeted by extremists. A third of the 90 journalists killed in 2007 died in Iraq.
In this war in particular, more than any other war previous, journalists are being specifically targeted by different sides because they don't want the story to get out. I mean, in World War II and even in Vietnam, people weren't trying to kill reporters. After he reported, there was some battle involving alcohol.
The Newseum plans to rededicate the memorial annually to add names of journalists who lost their lives covering the news in the previous year. For producer Tabina Naim, Ruth Reeder, VOA News, Washington.
And that's it for today. For more on the Newseum and breaking news from Africa and around the world, please go to voanews.com. Also, would like to hear from you, so drop us a line at africatv@voanews.com. Until tomorrow, I'm Dimiake Mwakaliele for the Voice of America.